Oh, let me slide on in here. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chill Outdoors. This is gonna be a giveaway video, so make sure you stick around for that. All right, let's get down to business. Y'all are here to learn about the flat-sided crankbait, and instead of just hearing my opinion, I've gathered data from articles and videos from 5 professional anglers that love using a flat-sided crankbait, and I'm gonna give you all that information in one swoop together video. All right, so to start the giveaway, duh, everybody wants free stuff. So I've been organizing my boat, I've been organizing my tackle, and I got way too much. So we're gonna give somebody $100 of free fishing lures to your door. And I'm gonna give another person $50. First winner gets $100 of lures, second winner gets $50 of lures. I'm giving away $150 of lures on this video. So make sure you comment below your favorite wintertime lure and where you're from. Give me that information. I will pick the winner from the comments. I'll pick both winners from these comments. So make sure you are subscribed right here. That's part of it. You gotta be subscribed. If I'm gonna give you free stuff, you gotta be subscribed. So subscribe right here on Chill Outdoors, comment below this video, and then also go check out Monsterbass because they are just so smooth. Go check out my videos over there. I should have one posted in a couple of days. Go check out my Monsterbass videos, subscribe over there. All right, now let's get rolling on this stuff right here. The Strike King KVD flatside 1.5 that I got out of my Monsterbass January Strike King Takeover box. This lure might just seem like a regular crankbait, and I think a lot of people overlook their flat-sided crankbaits. They're so easy to just look at and say, oh, that's just a crankbait. Some flat-sided crankbaits have square bills, and people just think, oh, it's just a square bill, but there's a big difference. So this is a 10XD. This is a Strike King lure. 10XD round body. Square bill, but it's a round body. This is the 8XD round body, just a little bit smaller, but these are much different than a flat-sided crankbait. We're gonna get into these in a minute. Then you have lipless crankbaits. Here's a little, oh goodness. Here's a little Rattle Trap brand. Here's 2 Strike King Red Eye Shad, which you also get one of these in your January Monsterbass Strike King Takeover box. Go check out my video on the Monsterbass channel. It should drop in a couple of days. I talk about the Red Eye Shad and how much money tournament anglers have made on the Red Eye Shad. It's ridiculous. The Red Eye Shad is a flat-sided lure, but it's a lipless crankbait. So it's a little bit different than a flat-sided crankbait. And here's another one, the Lunker Hunt. Now this Lunker Hunt's very special because it has 2 places to tie up to. Now we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But first, let's look at what KVD himself, the Strike King KVD, Kevin Van Dam, ever heard of him? Probably not, never heard of him myself till today. KVD, when talking about the flat side KVD 1.5F, said he wanted something that maintained castability, but had very subtle movement. He designed this lure specifically for subtle movement, cold water, days with no wind, days with bright blue skies, high pressure areas. KVD is a power fisherman. Look up his tournaments, look up how he has won all his money. He's a power fisherman. He goes out there and throws hard baits as much as he can. It could be the worst conditions for fishing ever, and he's out there just cranking away on square bills, flat sides, deep plugs, all kinds of stuff. He is a power fisherman, so it only makes sense that he wants something he can power fish in bad conditions, something subtle, something that doesn't go crazy underwater and still draws reaction. And that's exactly what he designed this for. So he wanted something subtle. He said he wanted something that had a wobble, but not really wide, but not too tight. He wanted something just enough to cause a reaction, but not very wide. So the 10XD and the 8XD, these things go crazy under the water. I mean, this thing will like do this in the water as it comes back to you. These displace a lot of water. They're very rambunctious, I guess you could say. They're very loud, they're very boisterous, they are in your face lures. But he didn't want that in these lures. A lipless oftentimes has a very tight motion, a very tight wobble reaction bait. But he didn't want something too tight. The Rattle Trap's the same way, very tight action. Now let's look at a very well-known fisherman who's expanded his social media reach a lot in the last couple of years, Randy Blockett. Randy Blockett is one of those guys that when he speaks, I listen. Randy Blockett loves a flat-sided crankbait, and he said specifically when it's cold, when temperatures are below 50 degrees but they're rising, and he said he actually goes up to the shallows. He said this is your best time of the year to catch 3 and 4 pounders. So if your PB is not 3 or 4 pounds, Randy Blockett says early spring, early pre-spawn with a flat-sided crankbait, he said it is your best chance to catch a 3 or 4 pounder up shallow. He said he goes up to 2 to 4 feet of water, preferably gravel, preferably sand, and he casts into the shallow water and then finds the strike zone. So whether they're sitting up in a foot of water or 4 feet of water, he's gonna keep hitting the shallows until he figures out what depth they're at. He said he's gonna focus on a craw pattern, kind of like these kind of colors, in the early part of the year, and then he moves to more of a shad style pattern for the later part of the year. Let's go to Jensen, the fluke master. Loves a flat-sided crankbait. I used to watch his videos like every single day. Like I would just watch his stuff on repeat. He loves a lipless and he loves a flat-sided crankbait. They go kind of hand in hand, but they have their own purposes, right? What does he do? He compares a flat side to a lipless. He even goes on to say that he uses a moderate action Omen rod and a 6-6-1 1-3 fishing reel Concept A, which I just put on order, getting me some new gear, you know what I'm saying? Back to business. So he said he always hits the shallows with a flat-sided crankbait, but his idea though is to get on the outside channel swings right off of the creek channel. So imagine you have a lake and it has a bend. The outside of that bend is gonna have the deepest water. He targets the shallows next to that deep water. It's a very common thing a lot of people like to do on big lakes. Jensen himself is saying that that's what he likes to do as well. He plays stop and go until he sees what they want. So he actually doesn't do a straight retrieve. He also said he likes to pop it through grass. Now, by design, the flat-sided crankbait will snag a little bit of grass, but there's no reason you can't pop it right up out of there. And it makes sense that he likes to do that because he also likes throwing lipless. And that's kind of how I like to fish a lipless, is popping it through grass. So I was watching some tournament footage, and Matt Herron had a segment in there where he talked about a flat side, and he said the colder the water, the more he wants a flat-sided crankbait. He said the colder the water, the more subtle he wants his crankbait. So it only makes sense that a flat-sided crankbait would be something he would utilize. Talk about why this Lunker Hunt is so different. Because we keep talking about tight wobble, right? This is a lure I got out of a Monsterbass box about 6 months ago. So Lunker Hunt has 2 eyelids here. You can tie to one and get a tight wobble, or tie to the other one and get a more wide wobble. Lunker Hunt, obviously thinking a little bit ahead of the game here. Now let's look at something else real quick. This is a Bait Labs, and I believe they called it like the hybrid crank. I got this out of a Monsterbass box as well. Now, this lure is designed to be either straight retrieved like a crankbait or to be used as a jerk bait. But when you look at it, it's got a flat body. This thing, I remember when I used to throw this a lot. I was throwing this a lot in about June in clear, warmer water as a jerk bait. But when you straight retrieve it, it doesn't have a wide wobble. And it made me think of that when I started looking at this video, is look at the difference in a fat body and a flat body. So even though this isn't really advertised as a flat-sided crank, it has the same characteristics. Very interesting, right? Now let's look at Bill Lowen. This is the last pro we'll look at. Bill Lowen said he does consider the time of year when throwing a flat-sided crankbait. He said he wants early spring, he wants cold water, and he obviously talked about the tight wobble. Now he compared it to a shad wrap. Classic lure. Very classic lure. The shad wrap is known for a cold water classic bait. And if you think about it, again, it kind of looks like the Bait Lab. So when you're wanting to throw a flat-sided crankbait, you might even have one in your arsenal that you didn't even know about. The only reason I'm bringing this up is to help you guys tie all your information together. It's so easy to watch dozens and dozens of fishing videos and not really be able to tie it together. Today, we're tying information together. So think about that when you're going through your tackle. Now, he also said there is nothing better for cold water fishing. He said there is nothing better for cold water fishing than a flat-sided crankbait. When a pro is telling you that, you should take note of that. His last note was, don't overfish it. Let it do its own thing. As you're reeling, you don't have to get too crazy. He's like, don't be jerking your rod all over the place. Just let it do its thing. It is, what was it today? 11 degrees. I'm pretending like I'm not cold, but I definitely am. I'm freezing. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you comment below. Let's get this giveaway going. Let's get me over 6,000 subs. We're almost there. Make sure you check out the Monsterbass channel. Peace.